Hi everybody, welcome to your first photography lesson. Today we're going to take some pictures and explore how different lighting and different perspectives, changing your framing of your shot, how all that can impact your photos. We'll also choose backgrounds that have minimal distractions that are very neutral to help focus your viewer's attention on the subject. And we'll give you a few tips and tricks to help your camera use be that much more effective. So let's jump right in and take a look at some examples. So first thing we're going to do is you're going to find a small interesting object that you can move around easily and find a neutral background. Again, clearing the background of distractions will help focus your viewer's attention on the subject of your photograph. Now, when you're taking your photos with any type of camera, you want to hold the camera steady. That's why a lot of professional photographers might use a tripod to hold their camera. That shaking of the camera can cause your images to be blurry. So hold your iPad or your camera firmly and get close to the object. By zooming in, you can really frame your subject in a way that makes it interesting and shows lots of details. So here's some examples. So notice that this picture of the water can, you see lots of details and these horizontal lines. All of that is framed so that it completely fills the viewfinder on the camera. Here we've zoomed in and just focused ourselves on the spout of the watering can. Notice the blue sky has minimal distractions, and the trees kind of act to frame the subject of your picture. Sometimes you can look just in the background to use objects to frame your subject. Here we're looking at a different angle. Angles are huge and really have a big impact on your photos. Here we're looking inside the water can and seeing the light shining through. We can see the shadows of maybe the sunlight going through some tree leaves and being filtered. You see the curves of the watering can. Here's an example of taking a picture at a high angle. You see the water rushing in. You see the water droplets in nice clear focus, and it gives a lot of motion to the photograph. One little trick that they did with this is that they got the exposure just right, and I'll show you a little trick on how to set your exposure with an iPad in just a moment. So again, experiment with different angles. Try shooting overhead, get super low. You can even rotate your iPad so that the camera lens is closer to the ground, and you can try getting super close and fill the frame. The other thing you can do is adjust the exposure on your camera. So to set the focus and the exposure, what you can do on an iPhone or an iPad is you can tap on the subject to bring it into focus, and you can drag your finger up and down to lighten or darken the image. Now, another thing that you can do to change the lighting is just change locations. So you can try outside, either in the sun or in the shade, or inside with different types of lighting, even lighting, or in this example, the watering can is just getting the light coming in through the window. Notice how you've got this nice warm colored light and long shadows. This picture was most likely taken either early in the morning after sunset or in the evening right before sunset. Those times right before sunrise and sunset are called the golden hour, and they give that nice warm light and really make a beautiful time of day to take photographs. Here we're seeing the light coming in through the window, and you notice the dappled sunlight maybe being filtered by some tree leaves outside. And again, it gives a lot of drama and texture to the photograph to make it more interesting. Now, not all of your photos have to be lit from the front. Sometimes having a silhouette and having an object be backlit like this can be really interesting. You have those really cool rays of sun peeking through, and that little sort of starburst effect, and little lens aberrations like the little circles and things that appear when the sunlight catches the lens. So it can be kind of really interesting and cool. Here we're seeing the little water droplets lit up, and you can see that the focus is nice and clear, so you can tap on different parts of your photograph to bring them into focus. And then here's a picture of the same watering can, just evenly lit, and also a great photograph. So when you're taking photos, when you go to your camera, what you can do to bring things into focus is you can tap on them. So I can tap on this flowers and bring them right into focus. If I tap on the elephant, I can bring the elephant into focus. If you drag your finger up and down, you can change the exposure. And that can have a really cool effect. So you can start to have some neat effects. You may be focusing on one flower and make some really dramatic lighting like that, or you can do a more traditional lighting. But sliding your finger up and down with that sun icon can change the exposure. One little tip is that if you're taking a picture on a white surface, you may have to raise your exposure to make the white surface seem white. If you have a darker surface like this couch or something, what you might have to do is, if the couch seems kind of gray, you might have to tap and then darken the exposure to get your picture to look just right. So here, I'll take a picture, and now we've got our picture and it's ready to go. So go ahead and get out there and take some pictures. Here's what we're going to be learning once again. Things look very differently when photographed in alternate lighting conditions and from a variety of angles. Try using neutral backgrounds to minimize distractions. For best image quality, move closer to your subject and avoid digital zoom. And if you have an iOS device like an iPad or an iPhone, tap your finger on the subject to focus, and you can drag your finger up and down to adjust the exposure. Have fun taking photos.